Hello, hello, hello. Thank you all so very much for joining us today. We are still waiting on our other guest, Daniel Hardaway. But in the meantime, I am here with the fabulous, the powerful, and the funny Chan B from Brooklyn.
Boop,
So,
boop, 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 boop.
right? What a perfect guest you are for what we are about to embark upon, which is the
For
topic
sure.
of takeoff stuff. So, thank you, Chan, for joining me. I sincerely appreciate it.
Yes.
We're talking about something, very, very serious, and it's an issue that is becoming way too normal. It's almost like we're just waiting for the next young artist, hip hop artist, to be murdered, not die from natural causes, but just to be to be killed. So before we get started, certainly our condolences to Takeoff's family, the Migos, and everyone affected by this senseless killing of such a young, artistic, and wonderful, supportive member of the Migos. This is so senseless, but it opens up a opportunity to talk about the issues that we are facing in our community. So before we delve into all of that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you reside? I know you're currently in Utah, but I know you are Brooklyn born. So bring some Brooklyn in the house before we get serious.
Hey everybody. My name is Chantel. I go by Shambi. That's my stage name. I'm a comedian, MC, host, event planner, soldier, public affairs specialist, multimedia journalist. So kind of do a lot. Born and raised in Brooklyn, lived a lot of places. Graduate of Florida A&M University. Always got to put that out there. Rattler Strike. And I'm currently in the mountainous region of Salt Lake City, Utah. So that's where I'm at now.
Okay. Yeah, you are a soldier. I forgot to mention that. Yeah. So
I choose which day I want to actually say that, depending on the audience and who I'm speaking to. But yeah, definitely.
Nonetheless, thank you for your service. I certainly appreciate it. I also come from a family of members who have served.
Veterans Day is literally a week away. So yeah.
So thank you for your service. All right. So what are your thoughts about this recent killing of Takeoff? I mean, when you heard the news, he was just killed on Tuesday. When you heard the news, what was your instant reaction?
It was early because I'm 2 hours behind Eastern Standard Time, and the passing happened in Houston, which is like an hour ahead. So either way, it was when I was first waking up. Was actually on my way to the airport, and which is a bad habit. The first thing I do when I wake up is I go online and look at my timeline. So as soon as I looked, I saw reportedly shot. His status is unknown. And I was just like, these blogs done it again, especially as a journalist. Sometimes I get triggered when I see certain blogs and stuff try to beat that breaking news and before they actually get all the facts and the information. Yeah. But that's what people resort to instead of waiting for reputable sources to release it. They just go with whatever blogs or whatever video or firsthand account that they saw there without knowing everything. So I was just trying to stay optimistic that, okay, either it didn't happen at all or he just got shot. He's in stable condition. He got grazed. Then maybe about an hour later, and then I started Googling actual websites, NBC, CNN, to see if it was true. And yeah, by the time I was heading to the airport, it was true. And it was the first thing I thought. It was like, he's the baby Migo, mm-hmm. and he's the least problematic one. And like no one deserves an unnecessary senseless murder, but for him, it's like, of all people, like, why you? why you, homie? So that
Yeah,
was kind of definitely messed me up for the day.
yeah. So you were a fan.
Oh yeah, I mean, I listened to the Stir Fry, and I listened to their, their albums, like their new Unk and Neff album that literally just came out within the past month.
Yeah,
With him and Quavo, they literally just started their own journey as a duo, and just dropped video, and was really starting to do their own thing. So yeah, very sad.
yeah. So I mean, this is coming on the heels of I'm talking PNB Rock, and he was only 30 years old. Trouble, he was 34 years old. Young Dolph, 36 years old. Pop Smoke, 20 years old. King Von, 26 years old. Nipsey Hussle, 33 years old. And Extension, another 20-year-old. And here we are. It seems like
And that's just within the past 4 years.
right. That's exactly. We can go all the way back to Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah. And even
so,
before that, I was researching about it, like a journalist should do. Researching about it and finding out, like, the first hip hop murder was back in the 80s, back in 80, 87. And it was actually a very extensive article from Double XL Mag that came out 4 days ago, pretty much on the heels of Takeoff's murder, just going back in hip hop history, the history of the murders. And even one of the quotes from the article was like, there's been 91 rappers since 1987 that's been killed. So that's averaging about 2 per year. And out of that 90, over 50 of them are still unsolved.
I think we have, Daniel Hardaway has just joined us, so let me include him. And thank you for that history. Hi, Daniel.
I was having some technical issues. My bad. Technical issues.
No, it's okay. No biggie. Just thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. And obviously, I think you're a very important a part of this whole dialogue, because you are also a performer, a young artist yourself.
Right.
Daniel Hardaway is a performer in NOLA, one of my favorite cities, and I actually met you performing in the streets. You had like your whole setup. I mean, which can be kind of tough in itself. So, Daniel, Daniel Hardaway, a hip hop artist in his own right in New Orleans. And so you clearly have a lot to add to this. But I'm going to piggyback on what Shan B just said, which is, she said, she went back to the very first murder, which was in the 70s in hip hop. And,
87.
In 87, excuse me. 87, the first hip hop. So, we've come a long way, but seems like things don't change. So, but first, what are your thoughts about this recent killing of Takeoff? What are your thoughts about that?
I actually was just talking about it this morning with someone. Everybody has a right to be anywhere they want to be, right? So you shouldn't have to avoid certain areas or certain places or certain situations. But just knowing the world we live in, I was talking about it. So they were in the bowling alley. It wasn't nowhere crazy. You're not in the middle of some gang territory. Nobody's doing nothing crazy in the bowling alley, But I was saying to someone this morning that, it's not his fault, because you should be able to, but at the same time, you got to be careful too when you have that status and you have that type of money. It's like, you're going to shoot dice. You need to be doing that with someone on your level financially, or, somebody who, like, do that with Drake. Go do that with Meek Mill. Go do that but not with somebody you don't know, like some regular guy who ain't, probably has nothing to lose, because I saw the video, unfortunately. I didn't see Takeoff get shot. Thankfully, I heard there was another video. You could see a little more of it. I'm glad I didn't see that. But there's a video where I saw where he was kind of Quavo was going back and forth with the guy. The guy was kind of antagonizing him a little bit, and then towards the end, Quavo was like, "All right, man, let's go," and then the shot went off, and I heard it was from somebody on their end that shooting wild, and accidentally hit Takeoff, and then so the other guy started shooting back, and so he got hit a couple more times or something, and black people, we have a great culture, but we have things within our culture that people place there that have no right, and it becomes our identity more than the positive things, and we're made up of so many different components, and I feel like it get overshadowed by these few things that people drag into it. And I don't know how familiar y'all with Charleston White. Y'all familiar with him at all?
Who?
Charleston White is a
Yeah.
black guy.
Oh, he rips the community apart. He had unapologetically. He gets a lot of flack, but he is very raw in his criticism.
He tells the truth.
About to fight T.I.'s son, wasn't he? I mean, they just had a little spat, a social media spat.
He got mad because he told somebody, it's like, you mad at what he has to say about your son, but you're more upset about what he has to say about your son versus what your son is actually doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. So
but I understand that as a parent, your instant nature and instinct is to protect your cub, but I do agree with you that his son behaves as a spoiled brat, because that's obviously what he's been fed. When everything is handed to you and you don't have to be accountable, then some people aren't accountable. They don't care at all. And so this young man is clearly very disrespectful.
He is.
In my opinion, I believe he comes across very disrespectful because he's so young, and he's fighting with a grown up. We back in the days, we used to have more respect for our elders. Even sometimes where they would be wrong, or you'd be like, you say it under your breath, or you go to your room, or you do something. You don't viciously attack your elder. And now would you say that hip hop has made that okay? Either one of you.
That's actually what I was getting the segue into. So the thing with that is, all right, so I'm gonna give you an example. Like, there was a video prior to the whole Charleston White thing. His son King, he was out, that's his name, King, and he was out and about, and he was getting into an argument with a guy. Sounds like a grown man, like somebody way older than him. He's arguing. He's like, man, I ain't about to keep going back and forth. He went to his truck, like he was about to go get his gun. I'm pretty sure he actually did have a gun. And, just me being from where I'm from, I'm listening to it. I'm like, this is threatening dialogue he's having with this grown man. Like, if he had a gun on him, like, depending on who you're talking to, you would have been shot already. You know what I'm saying? Just the way you coming off, it's like it could happen. You know what I mean? And it's like the way he carries himself. And I feel like as a hip hop artist, that's why there's certain stuff I just don't put in my music, because it's not reflective of me anyway. But will I defend myself? Yes. You're not going to just do me anything, but I'm not going out on a Friday night like, who want it? Like, that's not my energy. But that energy is in our music.
Right.
And as much as hip hop artists would love to say that hip hop culture has nothing to do with, it's just music, we got to take responsibility for that. We have to, because like, I always hear these comparisons about movies and video games. Like, yeah, they got games with Call of Duty killing, but it's not the same, because to me, when you're playing a game, you're detached from it. It's just like, it's literally just about the game. Music is energy. It's like it's programming. You know what I mean? Like, it dictates how you feel. Like, if I'm gonna give you an example. There are times where I'll be tired. I might be out late, partying or something. I might be hanging out with family. And when on my way home, I'm tired. I don't want to hear no hype music. So I put on R&B. Music is a reflection of how you feel or how you want to feel. Like, that's what you go to something to make you feel that. And I remember this artist D1. I don't know how familiar he's popular, but there's an artist from here named D1. He's a hip hop artist, gospel kind of. And
Yeah, I know D1. I used to live in New Orleans, so
Okay, you know what's
yeah,
up
I know
then.
D1.
All
Yeah, yeah.
right, all right, baby. All right, shout
I
out
used
to
to live,
you.
I used to live uptown off of Napoleon and South Claiborne.
Oh,
You almost sound like you're from it. You keep playing
I know,
around. Like,
I know. Yeah, I could switch it up.
it started coming out just now.
Yeah.
But even with him, he was saying like he's talking about like his partner that got killed. He was like, when the people who killed my partner on the way to do it, I'm sure they weren't listening to gospel music.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they're not riding in silence either. So what are they listening to? What is adding this? What's adding to what's the theme music for what we about to go do? Like what's setting the tone? You know what I'm saying? And so
And
as
even
much as
with D1, sorry to cut you off, but even with D1, and like he's talked about for years about kind of the resistance that he's seen in the music industry trying to become popular. Like he could spit, he could rhyme, but he's not talking the same kind of lyrics that hip hop, even other New Orleans artists, be rapping about, because he's like, that's not what I'm about, and that's not what I'm trying to promote, and that's not what I'm trying, and I'm not going to sell myself out and my brand just to get a big record label. I'll stay independent, I'll stay local if that's what it takes to stay true to who I am. And I think that's something that not enough artists do. They kind of sell their soul to get, because the record label, they will throw millions of dollars at you to say all the kinds of things to put us against each other, and they don't care because they're going to make millions off it because they know people going to buy it. Lecrae just put out a new album, and it's like he could spit, but he talking about God in every single song. He talking about going to therapy. He talking about getting over church hurt. He talking about getting over molestation, about daddy issues, mommy. He talking about stuff that Black men is really dealing with, but he's actually coming forward talking about how he's dealing with it and how he's coping with it. And there's not enough, like, that's looked at being whack. That's looked at being corny. That's not respected. That's not respected as much, or not, glorified really.
But we do have conscious rappers. We're coming from folks like Nas and Common, and even J. Cole and
J. Cole, Kendrick. Yeah, we have a few.
We do have a few, but it seems like this fast shoot 'em up, and glorifying money and fame and over sexualized things. It seems that is more exciting and that pays more. And so of course you see these young people say, hey, and sometimes these young people have no connection to the hood or that type of lifestyle. But if they sing about it, if they glorify shooting somebody in the face, like Little Baby sings in his song, I think that's what sells, unfortunately. And so would you say that is directly correlated to the risks that they take when they go out of their studios and face the world?
I feel like it plays a part, but not completely. Because, like I said, so this goes back to what I was saying about our culture. Like, our culture isn't killing. It's not our culture. It's a behavior that people bring into it. Certain people do that, but it's not completely our culture. If it was our culture, I would be killing somebody right now. I've never had a desire to kill anybody. Like, never really even thought about it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, some people that made me upset and I wanted to fight them, but that was about it. But I mean, is all right. So I'm gonna go back to something, Charles, because like this, I have my own thoughts, but there are also great points I've heard people make, because I always listen to the different things, and I always pull from what I can agree with and what I can add to my own theory, right? So Charleston White once said that you can have a good kid in the hood. That hood is not gonna let him be a good kid. And I'm gonna give you an example. Me, growing up, I was not a fighter. I wasn't exactly afraid, but I just, like, for what? Like, I had no malice towards anybody. I was the type of person, I just want to laugh, I want to make you laugh. We want to have fun. Let's go play basketball. We could rap. Like, I started rapping when I was 10 years old. So I found my outlet early. So like, you're like, yo, you want to hear something I wrote? Like, I'm on that type of time. But what there was this time, I ain't gonna get too far, and this is a long story, but basically I got into a fight with this kid my age and on the bus. But growing up, I was the big brother. So, I had my little brother, my little cousins. So it wasn't like I had a team of people I could just call, like, yo, I'm having this problem. So me and him get into a fight. He got a big brother, big cousins, people 2, 3 years older than us. Me and him the same age. And so it gets to a point where I'm getting jumped like once a month. Sometimes a couple times in a month. Like I literally have to walk. Like if I want to walk to my grandma's house or ride my bike to my grandma's house, I literally got to go all the way around when I could just take this straight street. But there's two houses on that street. They come from broken homes. They didn't come from a house I came in. Like I grew up in a 2-parent household. We went on vacation every year. We weren't rich, but my parents prioritized stuff like that. Like, yeah, you might not have $150 Jordans, but in the summer we going on a cruise. We going to Destin, Florida. We gonna have some fun. We're gonna go to Pennsylvania. I did all that as a kid. Been to the Bahamas, been to Cozumel. I did that as a kid. And so, but these people coming up, mom passed,
Yeah.
dad not in their lives. They're
They
selling
want to see
drugs.
if you don't have the struggle, you don't have the credibility, pretty much.
Yeah, like they selling drugs at 15, 16 years old. They already selling drugs. Like their parents not even questioning where they're getting these go-karts from. Like these, what I'm saying? Like, it's like well, not their parents, but their aunts and uncles, whoever they staying with, they're not asking them nothing. They don't, and so I got to a point where I had to start fighting. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is like I'm not just fighting somebody my size. I'm fighting his big brother, his big cousin,
his tribe,
for no reason. It's no real problem.
You messed with the members.
I'm like I was like 13 when this first happened, and I got maybe 12 or something like that. But I fought with them all the way until I was like 14. This went on for like 2-3 years. Wow. Like just getting jumped. Like literally, I just be walking. Like, all right, I'm gonna give you. One day, I'm riding my bike. I mean, my bike had this habit of the chain slipping sometimes. I literally go around the corner, like I'm, going my way while I avoid them. So I'm going this way. I see them. It's like at least 10 of them. I'm like, oh man. So I'm trying to bust a U-turn. I'm like, oh, time to go. All I hear was checkmate, checkmate. I was like, no, you're not. So I turn around the bike. I go to hit it too hard, chain slip. So I'm like, oh man. I left the bike. I'm like, man, forget the bike. so I dropped the bike, try to run. I get dropped in the front yard. I'm getting hit. I'm getting kicked on my side while he's standing over me, hit me. It's like literally like 4 or 5 people hit me at one time.
Wow.
And I said that to say that this isn't like gang on gang stuff all the time. Like, okay, about it too. It's like completely innocent people that want no problems, don't want nothing to do with nothing. Sometimes the environment, like, so my environment, I'm actually in the house that I grew up in right now. My dad passed in July. And so I just moved into the house yesterday. Yeah, so I've been fixing it up, cleaning it up. And the way I grew up in this house was different than the way they grew up. But when I left out this house, this environment was no longer here. You know what I mean? So it's like this is the environment when you're in the house, but when you're out there, it's a whole different set of rules. Yeah. And so their household met with mine when I go out. And so I got to deal with their personal problems. I got to deal with whatever they're going through. Mom passed, dad not in their life. I got to deal with drugs and the people they stand with probably on drugs. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I got to deal with all that. Like, I gotta get jumped and, deal with this stuff. All that. They taking my stuff every time they jump.
You like easy prey.
Yeah.
It's like easy prey for you because they're like, oh, this is the kid that know who his daddy is. Let's go beat him up because we're mad that we don't have our father in our lives. So that's how they internalize and that's how they lash it out.
Yeah. But so don't get me wrong. The music, I feel like music is an addition to that, but I feel like at the core of it is just broken homes, broken mentality, hurt people. That's all it is.
But are these the young people that are turning into the Migos and rapping about the circumstances that they're living in, or are we looking at a really middle of the road type of people that make it but glorify that type of lifestyle? Because not all these rappers who sing about uh, the traumas that they've experienced have actually experienced it. They just glorify violence,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be anybody. It could be, and it you see them, and they come in all shapes and sizes too. So what I've noticed is, or what do you think? Do you think it's these guys that are changing the game for everybody, or what are your thoughts? I mean, or do you think those who don't experience that lifestyle should take accountability for glorifying that lifestyle and the violence that comes with it?
It's a mix. So yeah, it's definitely a mix because we've had that up and down wave of that kind of music. So like in the 80s, hip hop started in the South Bronx, and then in the rise of hip hop in the 90s, Brooklyn, then East Coast, West Coast, and then we have the Biggie and Tupac. Those are like the biggest unsolved murder mysteries that came from both sides. Then right, and then in the 2000s, we started getting to the more the happy hip hop. So that's when we started getting to the Yin Yang Twins and Little John and tried to make it a bit more fun and more playful. And murders probably was still happening, but it was more localized and more gang related, and it wasn't as big superstars. And I think the trend has started again. I feel definitely around Pop Smoke, because Pop Smoke, that's coming back to Brooklyn. Pop Smoke is from the hood. He was from the streets. He was actively in the gangs. Like his rap team were the people in the gangs, So, and when his murder happened, it basically started another war turf back and forth, because after that, a couple other people from his team and other team, it started dying. And then the whole drill rap scene, and drill rap, that's big from Chicago with Chief Keef to out there in London and UK. And they have their same similar issues with UK rappers and beefing and battling and getting killed and stuff like that. So it is kind of now Fabio Foreign, he's like pretty much like the drill rap king right now, especially in New York. So that kind of rappers that are actually actively still in the streets and rapping is making a comeback, and that's what's starting to be on the rise, and I think bring more attention to this kind of violence once again, because like the Migos, from what I've known and know people from Atlanta, they're not like in the hood. Like they were from outside, they've seen houses, they've seen trees, they came from good upbringing, and their song is more so was about drinking and maybe
it wasn't so much murder. It wasn't.
There's definitely still more happy, Versace, like that kind of
Right.
stuff. So it's his situation, and my thing, once I heard more about it, and of course, allegedly, we because ain't nobody trying to get sued up in here. But allegedly of how he got shot. Me being a soldier, me being in the military, like, and coming from democratic states where gun control is still big, but knowing in the South, gun laws, NRA is very loose, and it's easier to get your hands on a gun. In some cases with hood people, they have guns that's not legally registered, but they're still in a state that allows guns. But I don't feel like people are going to the gun ranges and actually knowing proper gun safety, actually knowing proper gun techniques. Like you could be a bodyguard and you're not doing practicing targets. So you out here supposed to be protecting your artists, and you're talking about you're shooting wildly. You don't even have the proper skills to be employed doing the job that you're doing. Like this is possible because it's still unsolved. No arrests have been made. So probably trying to protect because this case, it sounds and it seems as if this is the case of fratricide. So this is someone within your own camp accidentally shooting you. In the case of I was aiming at so-and-so, but then you was in the middle. That means you don't know. That means you did not have a clean shot. This was my military. So like you did not have a clean shot. You did not have a good view to who. And you wasn't, whoever you were trying to shoot, you were not trying to just injure and maim. Because if you got him in the head and the neck, you was trying to kill whoever you
was
meant to
aiming
shoot.
high. Yeah.
So it's like, what comes to this point that you're defending, you're supporting your artist. So you're trying to kill someone that didn't even do a personal attack towards you. It was someone else. Why does it have to get that extreme? Like,
it wasn't even an attack.
Huh?
Like, and it wasn't even an attack. Like, Quavo was getting ready to walk off, like, let's do it. And then the shot went off. It's like,
right, just let it go. It's the ego, it's the pride, it's the do you know who we are? Do you know who I am kind of thing. And sometimes it don't even be the artists that be like, do you know who I am? It's the people in the camp. Like, no, we don't know who you are because you're not the artist. So humble yourself. You know, you could get fired tomorrow and you on Indeed looking for another bodyguard job. Like the humility of just, it couldn't, like you said, it was a birthday party. They wasn't even home. They wasn't in their home turf. They was in Houston, but they was literally at a bowling alley trying to play dice, just doing regular, normal stuff. And like you were saying, it should not be, oh, well, you know, they was not home, so they should be chilling, or they can't be hanging out in regular bowling alley kind of stuff. It's like, but why not?
They should be able to.
You know, that brings up.
Go ahead.
That brings up an interesting point, because Master P made a video and he talked about the importance and value of paying for security. So, you know, either one of you talk about what do you think about that, and then I want to go into the whole jealousy that's within it, because even Pop Smoke talks about that. Part of his thing was, look, I don't F with ninjas. I don't want to be on a record with them. I don't want them to be on my record. Ninjas are jealous, this and that. Like, he was very clear about his stand against collaborating or working with other people that are doing the same thing as he was. And so, and Daniel, you could talk about that, about, you know, the jealousy. But Chantel, I want you to talk about the security a little bit first. And then Daniel, you know, if you could go into the jealousy aspect and the dangers that can be in your own group. You know, your own man could be looking at you some way. You know, you may think he's the bodyguard, but you know, he may be a little, you know, green with envy. So Shan B, if you could talk about what Master P suggested about security.
Yeah, like, I'm not sure the specifics of who their security was, but not every time when you come up, you need to put on your homeboys and homegirls and cousins to just do any job. Like, if your cousin does not have a degree or specialize in publicity, they should not be managing your money and your endorsements and stuff like that. They don't have the skill set. The same thing goes for, because that can mess with money. You could end up in jail, all of that, IRS taxes and whatnot. So even more serious with security. Like, if that person does not have the skills or qualifications to be doing what they're doing, because it's like, I've taken, outside of the military, I've taken the armed security guard classes and training and stuff like that. That's what they should be doing. Like, there's plenty of retired or ex-military Black men, you know, that they could put on and say, hey man, I know you got the skills, you got the experience, you know, can I bring you on as my security? And it's unbiased, because it's like, okay, I may have been a fan of you, but you're not my blood, you're my relative, so I would take the role more serious as the job, especially in the mindset of knowing your 360, protecting yourself and your team. Like, you have that mindset instilled. So hey, I'm like, I mean, not me. My bang bang skills ain't all that. So when I get out, don't come looking for me. I'm not. But I know people that will be good, qualified candidates to do that. But it's best to have unbiased people in your camp to do jobs to protect you, because they don't have that familial or emotional attachment to the artist that can definitely cause strife or disagreement, which would segue into your question with Danielle.
Yeah, and don't worry about hurting anybody's feelings. This is about protecting your life.
Right.
And Daniel, talk about the jealousy that's real.
Man. So hip hop is already a competitive thing. I'm not a competitive person. I talk about what I talk about literally because you've heard a ton of my music. Like my
Yeah.
music is literally just about me. Like if I went through a breakup, I'm talking about that. If I went through a bad situation with a police officer, I ain't really careful. I'm gonna write a song about that. Some of my upbringing, I'm gonna talk about that. So
You're
that's
adopted.
literally yeah. So
Yeah.
it's really there's really no reason to compete with me. I'm not like getting on there like oh I'm the best rapper. Da, da, da. Like I don't rap about being the best rapper. I rap about me. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for anybody to like really get competitive with me because nothing to really compete with. But um yeah, there's a lot of jealousy and uh some people get inspired, some people get jealous, and that's life. I could look at somebody hop out of a car and I'm like, well, shoot, he seemed like he cool. Hey man, what do you do for a living? But like, I'm trying to get information, and the next person might look at him like, we think he is.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it depends on your personality. Some people some people are bigger than other people without even trying to be. They just being themselves. And little people are gonna feel little. That's just what it is. And you don't have to be little either. It's just you could be in the middle. But if in your mind you're not enough, you're gonna see somebody with more, and that's gonna irritate you.
Now,
And
do you think it has something to do with the Black culture specifically? I know people feel jealousy is just a part of our human nature, but do you think there's an extra problem within the Black community? Which is why you hear these phrases, crabs in a barrel, things like that
yeah,
tend to negatively stereotype to type us. Do you think that has what do you think about the Black community and jealousy, especially when somebody's coming up in your neighborhood? Like you said earlier, you may be from the hood, but the hood, you may be for the hood, but the hood isn't for you. Not
right.
everyone wants to see you prosper.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're seeing that in the past 24 hours in the recent situation with Drake and the alleged lyric with supposedly, but not really, toward Megan Thee Stallion. And he hasn't come out to say yay or nay, but the story is it sounds like he was taking shots, no pun intended, at Meg about her allegedly getting shot by Tory Lane and
Let me tell
everything.
you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a rapper. I heard the lyric.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm.
it's, it's
No,
like
what do you say?
So what do you say?
Yeah, you can't just leave it there.
it's like because it's like yeah, I see y'all trying to be careful about it. I get it, but so all right. As a person who literally makes metaphors all the time and similes and all these breakdowns of things, I've said way more clever things than what he did, and so it's like it's real obvious what he's saying, and
Okay.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So, but the thing is, all right, artists have this thing. I remember J. Cole a long time ago. He said something about retarded. What he said? He's like, it's like he correlated something. It was like some kind of natural function, like dysfunction, to being retarded. Like I'm about to let's just say like I'm artistic with the flow. I'm retarded. Something crazy like that, right? And the community went crazy. Like everybody went crazy on. He issued an apology. So with as an artist, you walk a very thin line trying to be creative and also use situations in a clever way to say something else. Like I'm trying to say this, but I'm using this situation to convey that message. To be clever, right? It's like a hidden message, but you get it if you listen it the right way. And I don't think Drake said it to be mean or be nasty towards anyone, but maybe not. I don't know. You know,
I
don't
think he was
know.
taking sides. I think it was like bro code. It was like bros.
Tory Lane is
Well, no,
Canadian.
no, 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 no,
That's
no,
what
no, 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 look, no, 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 not that, not that, not that.
so is
If
him.
if
So
if you
is
That's what
him.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying
if
in
you if
terms of
you
taking sides.
if you listen in the line too, yeah. Matter of fact, he did because he intentionally, like, let me tell you something. As a rapper, he used the word lied inside of the line.
Yep.
He said she lied about getting
Shot.
at shots or something like
She
that.
lied about getting shot, but she's still a stallion.
But she's still a
So
yeah.
I was like, he wasn't really being clever because then
It wasn't that clever. No, it was.
that,
That's what I said. I've said much clever stuff.
yeah,
But I,
so that's
but I
why
think
I don't think it was. They said, oh, it's a double entendre, and it's like,
It
and
is. It is because he's talking about ass shots.
But the
But at
first entendre is louder than the second, and then he's like, oh, but not necessarily her. But then he's like, oh, she said she graduated. It's like, how many hip hop artists do we see publicly talking about? I took it personal because it's like, she actually went, matriculated, graduated from college. You don't see that from hip hop artists. I say the highest level of education Drake probably got was when he went to Degrassi High. Like, so you over here talking about people graduating. Like, don't be trying to crap on somebody that actually outside of their music career trying to do something for themselves outside of music, because that's a low shot. And then it just goes back to like, oh, she's a woman. But when Pusha T was coming at you the same way with your lyrics, you was humbled real quick. You wasn't trying to go back. And that was a one-on-one dispute. You have nothing to do with Meg to even have to bring that line out. So if it's between her and him, and if he want to bring up this is like going on 3 years ago, let that be between them. I don't see what was the point of trying to bring up old news in 22, basically 2023 song lyrics just to start this talk. And then a guy was like, oh, well, y'all women only mad because it was against a woman, but y'all don't care about black men. And I was just like, first of all, we still dealing with the death of Takeoff, which was at the hands of another black man killing another black man. Then from George Floyd to Mike Brown to all of that, when you see protests, especially even during COVID, black women were at the front lines every time a black man was shot.
Yep.
So I was like, let me stop, because I get my feelings on Twitter and I be like, what you trying to say? Let me look at his profile. Oh, report inappropriate. Like, because I get mad because it's like, you're not gonna come in and say, oh, we're only in arms because she's a black woman. It's like, yes, we should be, but why aren't y'all up in arms about seeing another black man get shot either?
And also, why is he supporting Tory Lanez, who behaves badly? He just got into a physical altercation, just assaulted August Alsina, another artist from New Orleans.
Yeah.
And so here we are. It's like we're celebrating bad behavior. Whether he shot Megan Thee Stallion, which I believe she did. And again, it goes to show you how black women protect black men, because she said, I was trying to protect him. She knew what was at stake. She said, I thought they were going to kill us all. And, they're black. And he's a black man, so she was trying to protect him. But somehow all of that gets lost in translation. And then we go, you want to go and you want to speak up and uplift the perpetrator, the bad guy, really the person you really don't want in your neighborhood. You don't want influencing your children. You probably don't even want on your dinner table. But you want to look cool. You want to be accepted by the bros or the people you respect. So I think this says a lot about not just Drake as a person and an artist, but it says a lot about the divide between black men and black women within our own community.
Go
ahead.
There's all right, so I feel like what Drake did is dangerous ground. I'm gonna say this. All right. So when the situation first happened with Tory and Megan, I was like, oh dang, that's crazy. But the thing is, but at first I'm like, all right, enough facts haven't come out yet. Like, okay, they just figuring this out. So like, let me see what else happens. And then like more stuff started coming out with gun residue being found on the best friend's hands and not Tory's. And like all these different facts. So I'm like, okay, they have to go to trial for us to like really hear what's really going on. And so my thing is, let's say whether you feel like this, the information that's coming out isn't fully correct, you need to hear more, or whether you fully believe he didn't do it or he did it, regardless, whether you feel like let's say you feel like he didn't do it at all, or you just completely caping for that, or you feel like there's like some inconsistencies. Let's just say that, right? I feel like it's a dangerous ground to play on to make light of it when we don't know everything yet. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like let's we don't know, it could be true. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you doing all this, and then let's say boom, they come out and they find, let's say, video footage. They might have video footage. We don't know because the police aren't going to release every single fact because they still gotta go to trial. You know what I'm saying?
It's
So
an
we get
active
like we getting the outskirt information, like little he say she say, but we talking about the facts. Like when they talk about the gun residue, that's real. That's real police work that we don't have access to all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's dangerous to play around with that as somebody who identifies as a black man or wants to be identified as a black man. It, we
He want to be identified as black as a bad bitch. That's what he want to be. That's
hey, bro, my look.
And I'm saying
Look,
I'm a fan of Drake. I listen to his music. I just think
hey,
that's whack. Like that's
it's
corny.
whack,
Like
bro.
they say it's fair. It's fair. It's fair game. You know that's what you do. And then this is what I don't like to see. This black man got all these comments to dig at Meg, like, well, she a rapper. That's just how it's it. If you want to play the game, you got to play the game. And it's just like y'all like to say that when it's convenient towards a woman, but when we were saying other stuff, like but we've also seen battle rap end in murder. So that's not also fair to say, if she's trying to if she want to be a real rapper, she gonna have to just retaliate with lyrics. It's like, have we not seen that sometimes people end up retaliating with real bullets, and because they take it so personal, they take it outside of the show, and they want to do it in reality. So it's like, come on, that's whack.
It is whack, and the baby needs to also be held to task. Which
man, that song you came out with.
He went
there. It's a rap. Look, I ain't gonna lie. I literally have to explain myself every time I tell somebody I'm a rapper. Like, there's a lot of people that know me, right? So people know what I do. People like, okay, they respect it. Like, oh, that's him. He good. But when I meet new people, they're like, oh, what do you like doing? I'm like, oh, I write music. What do you do? I rap. Oh, no, that ain't me. You know what I'm saying? But as a rapper, I kind of get put. That's why I don't even call myself a rapper. I say lyricist, and they be like, "Oh, what do you mean?" It's just like it starts a dialogue, because when you say rapper, the first thing they go to is like this ignorant, belligerent, arrogant, self-centered,
dangerous.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, bro, all the time like that. You know what I'm saying? But you put certain people in the spotlight and they get all this shine, and they become a reflection. And then this is actually circling back to what we were talking about earlier. I was trying, but like we've been segueing like crazy. But I put the blame on two people, not because a lot of people just like to point their finger at the label, like, oh, the people who own the labels, they're pushing this stuff. Yes, they are pushing it, but we got to stop selling ourselves out too. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it like this. Like, I was talking to somebody about gentrification one day, right? And I was like, yeah, gentrification is messed up, but we also got to take pride in grandma's house. We got to take pride in our father's house, our aunt's house, and jumping at, instead of jumping at the first chance we get to make a little money and selling ourselves out. And they, the community used to be, well, yeah, you sold your grandma's house, so there you go. Yeah, that's somebody gonna buy it. You know what I'm saying? So
I hear what you're saying there, which you're talking about accountability, and I think there is room to point to accountability when it comes to gentrification and a bunch of other issues. However, I also firmly believe in the historical trauma that a lot of Black people are still working to overcome, and you see that reflected in our communities and everywhere. You just go to Baltimore and you'll see it. I'm sure you'll see it in New Orleans. Come to DC and you'll see it. So we see that kind of stuff happening. And so, yes, I think there has to be accountability, but we can't have that conversation without the historical impact of chattel slavery and after slavery. How they talk about lifting yourself up by the bootstrap, but when you help build the country, the most richest country in the world, and then you're thrown out into the streets without boots, without anything, without land, without nothing. You have nothing, and then to be penalized and expected to keep up with those who took everything that you built. I think that's unfair, unjust, and inhumane. But I digress, because that's a whole other issue for me.
Question. So look, as I don't know if I don't know if it's out of context, but I'm just making sure we on the same page. But I wasn't saying, I wasn't saying anything against. I'm not talking about the black community in general. I'm talking about music artists, strictly music artists. Like, and of course, like I use gentrification as like a, because I feel like with that, for people who do it, it's more like a business move. Like, oh, I can make some money. You want to sell that? Oh, you don't see no value in it? Well, here go 50,000. I'm gonna make 350 because you don't want to mess with it. So I got you. Like, I don't think it's always as racially motivated as we think all the time. All the time. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm just saying it's more like a business move. Like, okay, well, you don't want to do nothing with it. You didn't put no money into it, so you don't care. So it's just 50,000 for you. It ain't like you had to pay it off. So cool. So I feel like the same thing with music. Like we just gotta stop giving up everything. Like we gotta realize the value of things. Like me as an artist, like I could easily go make a certain type of song and go push that and then take off within the next month or two. But it's like, I would rather never make it. I would rather, go make a regular living and just go ahead and keep doing my music and perform at my open mics and get booked in and just call it a day. But the thing is, you have to have that integrity. You have to have that mind frame. Like, I'm okay if this doesn't happen. Some people aren't okay with that, and so they'll give up anything. Or you want me to talk about this? Or you want me to do that? Oh, I see what y'all like. I'm gonna go do this because this is what y'all like tuning into. Or I'm gonna be controversial because I know y'all gonna go listen. If I say this line about Megan Thee Stallion, like that's gonna make y'all go listen. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta stop selling yourself out. And just in general, like. And like, I remember one time this is how I learned that lesson. Here in New Orleans, they have a pawn shop over here on the West Bank. And I saw a commercial for it one day. I'm watching TV, and they had a black one. It's white owned, and the owners were on there, and they had a, it's staged, of course, and they had a black customer come in, black woman. Yeah, because my baby daddy went to jail, and I come here when I need money. And I'm looking at him like, yo, what the hell? Like, I felt played. I'm like, dang, like, and I've been to this pawn shop and bought stuff from them before. And this is my first time seeing this commercial. I'm like, wow, that's how y'all feel about us? But then, once I made a post about it on Facebook, it was like, but why did she subject herself to that for us to be reflected in that way? Like, no black person should be signing up for that role to do that. No matter, they should be able to go out in the black community like, hey, what would I look like? Why you don't get out my face? I'll beat you up right now. Get out my face. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do you think that loyalty or that unity to say no? Do you think the black community is beholden to one another, that they would even say no? Or they're going to be like, no, you better get that money. I mean, they sing about it all the time.
Depending on what neighborhood they went to as well and how much they offered her. She's like, oh, okay, it's only going to be shown in this pawn shop. This isn't a national commercial, but I'm going to get paid. Like, I'm going to get paid. Yeah, that's the automatic mindset. And I mean, I agree what Daniel was saying, because it's the same thing in comedy. Like, I'm not on that level yet, but I know that in terms of creating my own sound, and personality as a comedian, it's like, I'm not trying to be, especially with black women comedians, in terms of being, the loud, the annoying, the ghetto, that kind of, like, you can't just naturally just be funny without having a caricature as your character. And and especially me trying to be in a city like Utah, it's like, I see some other comedians that's trying to, as soon as they come on stage, and it's like, you the only in the audience, who are you talking to? Like, why are you talking to your audience like this? Find a way to be funny without making fun of yourself. So I make sure, if I'm gonna make some jokes, I'm gonna make some jokes and it changed because I went from doing comedy in New Orleans because I was in a comedy troupe in New Orleans and then doing stand up in New York. So I'm going from being a Black Southern community to being a Black Caribbean community to just being on that person in the room and still have to find a way to be funny and relatable, but not make it always a black and white kind of joke where I'm making fun of myself being Black for white people to laugh, or making jokes about white people to make them feel uncomfortable. Because it's like, find ways to be in a medium that everyone can appreciate and see your talent without being a sellout to your community or being, a joke to theirs. Yeah. And that's the fine line where, God willing, when Hulu and Netflix call me and they tell that I stay true to the word, and that's what it is. You start off being humble and true to yourself until you get that phone call like, hey, I need you when you do your special to wear some big bamboo earrings, and I want you to wear this big red lipstick because I want you to yell every time you say your joke. Like that's how they try to transform you and change you, and you got to stay, true to that. So kudos to you, Daniel, trying to stay. That's the hard part in what we do, is trying to brand ourselves to go against the grain, but still wanting to be successful as the others. But we need support from our community to support in what we do and be like, because I want the teenage kids to be like, it's okay. It's okay to rap about going to therapy. It's okay to rap about going to church. It's okay to rap about graduating from college and not being clowned about it like that. And it seems like we were getting to that point, but now we're going backwards with this younger generation of artists coming out, and we just got to figure out a way. We do need more. And I was watching like footage. It's been a very busy first 4 days of November, and then we got elections coming up next week. And Georgia, Georgia, all eyes are on Georgia, with that Pennsylvania, but Florida. Ooh. Yeah. Move Florida. So it's so it's like those are things where you go to Black people, they don't want to vote, they don't want to do that, and midterm elections is so important. Like, these are the things that's supposed to be real important. And I was watching Diddy's 53rd birthday and seeing him and Mary J. Blige and Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri and just seeing them just having fun. And like for 2 seconds, I was like, I wish Takeoff, we were able in 20 years to see Takeoff celebrating his 50th birthday party. I want to see, like, seeing that, literally Jay-Z could have easily been shot and killed back then. So Diddy could have died the same night as Biggie, leaving the conspiracy theory out of it. They all could have never been able to see this day. And thank God they survived to see it. And I just want more of our current day artists to be able to see that. I want Gucci to celebrate 60. I want, Jeezy. I want all of them too. But I also want the ones that have made it this far to. It's not that it's their responsibility to, but it's like they choose not to be vocal, but it don't hurt to come out with the kind of platform and the OG status that you have to say, come on, y'all. We gotta find a better way. We gotta do better. Let's have y'all all come to my house and let's just talk. I kind of wish I would see more of the older ones do that, because it's like y'all narrowly escape being in the same predicaments as that. So kind of.
When you're looking at all of these artists that I'd listed earlier at the top of our broadcast, none of them reached 40, or I think the oldest one is 36. Young Dolph was 36 when he was killed, but the youngest is 20 years old. I mean, Takeoff was 28 years old. What do you think about the type of lifestyle they glorify, though? Because when you look at the Migos videos, their music videos, and even when they turn into the duo, Quavo and Takeoff, I mean, their music videos really, they're throwing their wealth in your face, I mean, they got stacks of money. They have, a lot of a lot of, half naked women. They have this opulent lifestyle that they're flashing, and but that's not attainable. When you look at other artists, there are these artists that are like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this because I want just that. I'm gonna sing about murder, rape, and because I want that. I want that lifestyle that the Migos is showing that I can do. And if the Migos are saying, look, we're just regular guys from Atlanta, I mean, where's the accountability there as far as the type of lifestyle that groups like Migos is selling to
so I'm a rapper, right? So I find ways to correlate a bunch of things to make points. That's what I do, right? Follow me for a second here. Just follow me. All right. Sometimes it's hard to fight the system from within the system. And so you have to, I'm going to give you an example. Colin Kaepernick. They can affect Colin Kaepernick, but they can't affect me, right? The NFL can't affect me. But this is what happens. When you have someone like Colin Kaepernick who says, hey, you know what? I'm going to use my platform, my likeness to stand up for this, right? They punish him. And they can punish him as much as they want if us as people don't punish the people over him. And so, yeah, you can sit up there and say, oh, that's messed up. They're going to take his job. But guess what happened on Sunday? Da, 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 da. You right in front of the TV. But make those ratings go down. Stop buying them jerseys and let them know why we not doing it. Can I curse on here? I'm sorry. I got to ask.
I think
I'm not going to curse. Because I'm getting passionate. I'm getting passionate. I feel it coming. So let me calm down. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna calm down. All right. Woosah. Woosah. You ever saw Bad Boys? Woosah. But yeah, so I feel like the same thing like with that. So it's like they can punish him because they work for him. But us as viewers, us as supporters of the NFL, like, yes, we might want to watch football, but you might have to make a small sacrifice to help this person that's trying to stand up for you. That's giving up millions of dollars. And then you got other people, you got other players who are doing the same thing, getting fined 50,000, 100,000, trying to stand up with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People playing with their livelihood. It costs you nothing to not get in front of that TV on Sunday, but you still do it. And so you know what happens? Guess what? I don't have to take my foot off his neck because it's not costing me anything.
Yeah.
Why do I care? Y'all not affecting me. So, but the thing is, Kaepernick can't affect them by kneeing or not playing. They're just going to find another quarterback. Who cares? There's plenty of people that want your spot. You know what I'm saying? But that's why us as public have to be reinforcements to these things. And so I feel like with hip hop, yes, hip hop is the way it is. I hate to say this. It's because of the public.
Yeah.
The public eats this up. Anything negative, they tune in. Oh, what did they say? What did they say? I gotta hear it. Oh, what did he say on the project? Okay, cool. Not like if Drake would have made a regular project talking about breakups or whatever, it still would have done well. But him adding that little bit of controversy, you know what happens? Woo! Let's hear it.
But to your point, his last album didn't do that well because it was all dance and music. So I feel like it's kind of like
you need that fire underneath it.
Yes,
and look, not only that, that also plays a role with the way rappers carry themselves. Nobody wants to hear a rapper that just sounds good. So rappers get in a position where you got to be the guy that every chick wants and every dude wants to be. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not both of those at the same time, nobody's going to tune in. Nobody cares. You're just a regular dude that raps like, oh, that's just so-and-so that raps. But look at old boy. He got the Maybach. Oh, let me go see what he doing. Oh, he got the stack of money. Let me go see what he doing. It's like you got this, you build up this perception that makes you seem so big, and so people want to be attached to something big. They want to feel like they're a part of something big, like something that's going on. So they want to tune into that. It's not even about the talent. It's not about what they're talking about. It's the person. They're looking at, he got this, he looked like this, he got this on. Oh, that's $10,000. Wow, that's crazy. It's an infatuation with what's going on. And so rappers might, I'm gonna give you an example. J. Cole said this in a song, his second album, Born Sinner, bought a chain and I ain't even bought a crib yet. You know what I'm saying? And so like you know this chain is gonna make me look like something, and I need this because if I don't look like this, nobody's gonna pay me no mind. Like, oh, he broke. Yeah. Forget about he broke. So he even worth listening to. He broke. I don't want who want to look like him, who want to be like him. They pull up the Migos. Pull up Mike Tyson when he had 30 million to his name and he was just giving away Rolls Royces to people. Like people are infatuated with this image. It's the image. And so like, don't get me wrong, like the rappers can't push back because then they won't pop because we're not going to tune in.
Yeah.
It's the same, that same correlation with the football thing. It's like, we have to support from the outside. Like, you know what? I don't care what you got. I don't care what you got. You rap well. You could dress normal. I'm still gonna come listen to you.
Yeah.
They can't. They gotta look the way they look, or the audience that's tuning in to hear that type of music, they're not gonna subscribe to it.
Yeah. And you can look at artists like Lil Baby. He specifically said he doesn't want to be like other rappers or hip hop artists. He doesn't wear the chain, or he doesn't have all the tattoos. He doesn't glorify that lifestyle. But he's still popular. He's still popular. Mm-hmm. He's very different. But they're saying it's come from it. Hip hop has evolved from rocking the party to idol worship, which is basically what we are living in now. Is instead of artists rocking the party. Like they did back in the days when hip hop was born, now right. It's turned into idol worship. So, but I want to talk about another very controversial topic: snitching.
Oh man! Oh, we're going to the street.
I know.
Oh my Lord!
Right? Like, girl, you don't know where we from, like.
Right? Exactly. So that's almost a perfect reaction because. Right now they're still looking for the person who killed Takeoff. This person hasn't been found. He was at the party. There's video of this person. People fled. They just fled, and this man that they worshipped 10 minutes ago is laying dead on the ground. And they're all, and not all of them, but these people scattered. These so-called friends and these what are these people called? The groupies, the people who hang out with you all the time. They're gone and nobody's talking. But yet, when you look at what happened with Tekashi 6ix9ine, this man who doesn't really fit the normal profile of a hip hop rap artist, he goes off and snitches and snitches and snitches. The parodies were hilarious. And yet he gets away with it. Nobody's threatening his life, at least not publicly. This guy is still out there making his round. Just the other day, he was on a show talking about all the things that are happening. But how is Tekashi 6ix9ine able to snitch, but nobody in the Black community can snitch? Do we not like Takeoff like we like Tekashi? Jan, what are your thoughts?
He not Black. I think that's that interesting dynamic of when we say Black and brown communities, and like brown's supposed to be Hispanic, but it's they act as they have the luxury to be able to choose which community they fall in line with. So where we are more quick to be in solidarity with Black and brown than I hear them being in solidarity with brown and Black, if that makes sense. And so I feel like in this case, he is finding the entitlement, and even though he snitched, he's still not looked as a threat. So he's able to live freely. But if he was a full-on black dude, because he's from Brooklyn. It's like if he was a full-on black dude, he probably would have been got by now.
But he benefited from the culture.
His first week out of jail. So
it's crazy.
And he definitely does not have he has more of a celebrity status being like a joke in hip hop than he is than being an actual artist. And I don't know, I guess that's where he has the freedom. It's very weird and surprising to me that he is basically living out in the open, even though he's supposed to be on witness protection, but he's still not. Like it's and not that to say like, oh well, we should be killing, Hispanic just must be killing. Like it's not that, but it is an interesting point of, he did that and he's able to live freely. But if someone else in the Black community, was to do that from the hoods of Chicago, Brooklyn, Houston, New Orleans, they do that, they will not last. They're safer to snitch and stay in jail than they are to snitch and to get out, because people are going to come and look for them. So it's scary to be. It is scary to be in that situation, because I know of someone's father that witnessed something and went to the police and told the police about it, and then the person found out it was his dad that tipped the police off, and then the guy was arrested, but he had people on the outside that he was able to make him a target, and his father was murdered. So it's very, and these are grown 50-something-year-old men, putting out hits on each other. So it's like the hood mentality isn't just when in your teens and your 20s and 30s. Like it will go into your 50s and 60s if you're stuck in that mindset. And it's unfortunate because it's like you want to do the right thing, but then now you're afraid for your safety and your life because we don't respect people doing the right thing and coming forward. It's like, well, if we give up the person if the people that know give up the person that killed Takeoff, now I got to worry about my life. Because it's like, what does it matter? Takeoff is already dead. Like that's kind of the mindset. Like, well, what's the point of saying he already dead? What do we need justice? Or we'll just take care of justice within our own. Like Young Dolph died. The person that shot Young Dolph was, I think, killed like the following week. Sometimes we think about taking care of justice within our own hands, which is that fine line with the judicial system of if you do go forward, are you going to be protected in witness protection? Is the person that you snitch, will they be arrested and prosecuted and sent to jail? No, you might end up getting killed, and then that person got off on a technicality and don't even serve prison time. So that's where that fear and mistrust of the police.
Tekashi was a gang member, if not still a gang. He was in the gang. The gang helped him get there. He had that lifestyle. So how is he able to snitch? Well, how is he able to snitch and get away with it? But yet, anybody in the Black community, we can't snitch. Why are there different rules to the snitching game, Daniel?
I ain't gonna lie. So I'm gonna give you an example. One time it was a Martin Luther King Day. It was a Martin Luther King Day parade happening, and I'm like maybe 20 minutes away from my grandma's house, and I get a call from my cousins. Everybody's afraid, going crazy. This guy I grew up with killed his friend in the driveway across the street from my grandma's house, and my cousin saw it. And I was like, so I'm like talking to him, trying to calm him down, like, yo, just go inside. Like, I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna be honest with you, I told him not to say anything. I'm gonna tell you, like, so look, this is the thing. This is what you're talking about, like with Shan was just saying too. As a civilian, as somebody who's not in the streets, who isn't a gang member or anything like that, you should have a right to go to the police. You're a civilian. You're not living that life. You don't subscribe to those beliefs. You don't, you're not involved in any criminal activity. But the thing is, it's dangerous for you as a civilian, because what happens is if they go to jail, you still got to worry about their cousin, their best friend, their brother, the gang they're affiliated with. If it don't happen to you, like what you said about the dad, if it don't happen to you, they gonna get somebody close to you. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody gonna get hit.
But
You know what
why
I'm
not?
saying?
So why not? Takashi doesn't have family. They can't go after his people. Why are the rules different for Takashi 6ix9ine and not for the people who
He's
saw Takeoff get killed?
ah, look,
Now she got protection.
that's the thing. And like he's all right. So he's a public figure
Mm-hmm.
as well. So that protects him too. It's like he has too much attention on him. Like that was a regular street dude that snitched and he had to go back to the hood. Oh, he would have been gone the next day.
You think the
But
people running with Takeoff and Migos are going back to the hood?
no,
These
this is what
people
I'm
have
saying.
money.
I'm talking about people who tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, so I feel like Takashi got away with it because he doesn't have to go back to a certain environment. He can go in the hills somewhere and be away from all that. If he had to go in the heart of Brooklyn or heart of the Bronx or something, oh yeah, he would have been dead the next day, probably. You know, they'd probably call him walking to the convenience store. If he was a regular person, like just to have no car, regular dude, just wanted to get out of jail. Yeah, they would have called him the next day. But he has that convenience, like, okay, well, I go put out a music video and probably go make 75,000, 100,000 at this show, and I can go post up over here and get away from everything. So I think that's the only reason he got off. It's
The
literally
people, the
resources.
people who run with Takeoff, the people who were there, why do you think they're not speaking up? What do you think?
Oh,
What's
they
their hang
they
up?
gonna they gonna try to handle that. They're gonna try to handle that the street way. That's why.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
why do
they
we do that though?
they
Why
yeah
do
they
we do
don't want to talk
that?
to no police. Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm far from a killer. I tell you that right now. But I will tell you, if something happened to my little brother, I couldn't tell you how I would react to that. Especially if I found out who did it. I
Don't push it.
honestly could not tell you what I would do. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I can't 100% sit up and say, oh, I'm gonna go to the police. I know the guy's name. I'm not gonna say that.
But
If I had
would
to
you
be,
do that to a white person or somebody else? Or would you openly
it's my little
say,
brother. It's my little
well,
brother.
what I mean is, would it matter if the perpetrator was a white person or a black person or any other race? Would you feel more emboldened to go and take exact revenge on a black person, or would you take a pause and say, well, that was a Chinese person who did that, or it was a white person who did that, or Hispanic, so I don't feel comfortable doing that. You know, what are your thoughts on that? Because it seems like we are more emboldened to kill each other rather than just the person, regardless of their makeup. That, you know what I mean? Like we take more of a pause, But
So
when it's us,
mm,
it's it's a whole different situation.
so in the hypothetical situation I use, the only variable that matters in that equation is it's my brother. It's like that's the only variable that matters. Everything else, I don't care. Chinese, white, black, purple. You did something to my little brother, he's not here anymore. Like, so like, yeah, I do feel like in general though, there is a little more hesitancy to like, oh, I'm not about to, yeah, I do feel like that. We're a little quicker to go off on each other, do certain shit, do certain things. Sorry, certain things to each other. Yeah, I do feel like that. I feel like I don't know why that is though. Honestly, I don't know if it's because I give you an example. Like there are times where like I go in a restaurant, right, and you might have a black server. That black server is going to go to that white table and be like, "Hey, how are you guys doing today?" Da-na-na-na. When they come to my table, what's up, bro? I'm cool with it because I talk like that.
Yeah.
But you identify with me, and so it's like you comfortable with me, and so I feel like sometimes that it's a level of comfortability. Like I feel like I know you, some kind of I can't explain it. I just feel like there's a certain level of comfortability black people have with each other that lines get
Yeah.
overstepped sometimes just out of that comfortability.
Yeah. And then it's also it adds to the cycle. Like, okay, you kill one of my peoples, I get somebody to kill one of your peoples, and then now they gonna kill. Or even if I do snitch and then I send you to jail, it's another black man in jail. It's just like we're continuing the cycle. Whereas if it was, white cop or just white person, Asian person, that committed the crime to one of us, we would probably be more quick to say something, because we want that person of another race or ethnicity put in jail to see some kind of justice done towards us, because we're the ones that's usually, the ones that are the suspect. And then we're the victim that don't see justice. So if there's a case where we can see justice and we're not a part of the issue, then we would be quicker to say something about it.
You know what it is? At the end of the day, I feel like, just in general, this is just my overall, because I've been thinking about this. We need to learn to just talk to each other.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you think we still can? Like in this day and age, you think that's possible?
I feel like we can get there, but it's a lot of healing that needs to go on. Like, I think starts at home. Let your kids feel heard sometimes. Not saying like they could run over you, or I'm not a parent, so like I'm just throwing that out there. I want nobody like, oh yeah, I don't have kids, so I might be out of my way for saying this, but just me is just coming up as a kid myself, and anybody else who's had to be a kid. I feel like it kind of starts there. You don't learn to communicate how you feeling without going to a certain, it's like everything you say, like, oh, you're a child, stay in the child's place. Like, oh, you mad? Well, you too young to have nerves, or whatever. Like, it's always some kind of thing that kind of shut down how you feel. You get used to not
Black boys.
Yeah, you get used to not expressing yourself. So now you're in a situation where there's conflict. You don't know how to handle it because you don't talk about anything. You don't get it. Your feelings don't matter anyway. It's like, stay in your place. And so it's like, what happens when you don't know how to talk? Use your hands. What I'm saying? And so,
it's really interesting because that talking, I'm reminded of J. Cole and Little Pump. J. Cole seems to have been talking in his lyrics to Little Pump, and that went left real quick. I mean, they've since made up. So it seems like there have been attempts to talk even through lyrics. You can even see it with Kendrick Lamar in way he communicates.
Beautiful work.
Exactly. But it's falling on deaf ears.
Yeah. And sometimes the talks don't need to be on a song lyrics put on blast to everybody, because then that's when, again, the male ego and pride is like, oh, people say it, they'll say, oh, okay, you saying that you trying to mentor me in a song lyric, but you have never sent me a DM or you never called me. Like, not every conversation needs to be put out in public put out on display on a song. Like, it could just literally be like behind closed doors, like, hey, let me reach out to you, let me talk to you, behind the scenes. And that comes off, that would be more genuine than it's like,
but what if he wants to reach more people, not just this person, but up and coming artists, like, hey, humble yourself, type of thing. I agree with you. I think perhaps it should have started with a one-on-one conversation at first, but I don't know if he'd be receptive to it, because you can just look at King and what's that? The antagonizer in New Orleans. I forgot you mentioned him earlier.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? I can't.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, I
into a fight with T.I.'s son. The what's his name? The gentleman who got into a fight with T.I.'s son, King.
Oh, you're talking about Charleston?
Charleston, that's right.
Oh, he's not from here. I think he's from.
Oh, I thought he was. Okay, I thought he was from that region, but you just kind of look at the way he's doing things, and the way people are doing things. Like it's people are young people are not inclined to listen to their elders. It's a whole different generation here. How do you reach? How would J. Cole reach Lil Pump? Other than in a lyric.
But don't get me wrong, the way he did it was different. So like, I don't know if you heard the song that she brought up. But in the song, he wasn't necessarily dissing them. It was like more like he literally towards the end, come here, little man, let me talk to you. Like, he's like just putting them on game. Like, he told him to keep touring. That's where the money at. Like, he literally just giving them game. Like, yo, bro, you come at the wrong person. Yeah, you come at the wrong person, bro. I ain't here for that. Like, just chill. Like I can end you, but chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of them little nudges, like, hey, bro, chill out. It's cool.
Yeah.
And they actually had to sit down and had it's like a 30-minute, 40-minute conversation they had.
Yeah. So so this whole idea about hip hop is, it's obviously evolved, and so there's this, somewhat of this this conversation saying, well, the Migos aren't really hip hop. There's this old hip hop versus new hip hop, real hip hop versus fake hip hop, and so they compare, the folks like KRS-One, Das Effects, to the new genre which the Migos ushered in. What are your thoughts on those types of criticisms?
Music is ever evolving. It's ever changing. First of all, half of the songs from today is being sampled from songs from, even in R&B, being sampled from the 90s to the 80s. Even when Jay-Z came out, Jay-Z and Diddy and Biggie, like all their songs from the 90s, they were sampling from the OJs. They were sampling from the 70s. Like that is the beauty of music. And it's just like, it's ever evolving. We have to, back in my, like, I know we sometimes get in that mindset, like, back in our days, like, I miss the old R&B. And it's like, but even today's R&B is sampling the songs from old R&B. It's just newer artists. And I'm happy to see people like Genuine and SWV on tour, but I'm also here to support Ari Lennox and, Summer Walker and BVSN and the new artists of today too, because they need to speak and represent their community. What I do like to see, when you're saying about talking to the young ones, because even from like my block back home, like my block was hot back in the day, and even now. And it was one day I was home and I was dropping something off at my dad's house, and we drove past somebody with legs sticking out from under a car. And we was like, I think I really got shot, and we literally are seeing a crime in progress. And we left. I told my dad, I was like, stay in the house. I'll see you later. And then like a couple of days later, I saw some guys around my age from the block, and I was like, what happened last week? They're like, well, the guy got shot. He survived. And I said, dang, do y'all talk to them? Like, yo, we tried talking to these young kids and they don't want to listen to us. Like, they called us old and young and dumb, and they just don't want to listen to us. But I do appreciate when there are like sometimes you just have to continue to talk to them, and sometimes stuff penetrate. Unfortunately, there are some that it takes situations like them getting shot, or they're seeing their homie get shot in front of them, for them to have that eye-opening experience. It's kind of like you have to have your own on hand. You have to have your own personal trauma before you start to open up your eyes to stuff. But I like to see that, we still have stuff like the Breakfast Club, even Drink Champs. I know Nori, like, his crazy enough, he just interviewed the Migos last week, and Takeoff said some very chilling things he said just last week about, wanting to be given his flowers now and being remembered now and not when he dies. And it's always cryptic when someone dies and you see like their recent interviews and their recent songs and their recent posts. But just Drink Champs and LeBron getting James has a shop. So I do like to see that there are Black, and Charlemagne has his own show as well on the Comedy Central, to see Black men led shows that are bringing artists and influencers from the ages of 50, 40s, all the way down to their 20s, to give them the platform to speak and have that open forum to have that kind of dialogue. And I think if more young people in general, men and women, because we starting to see some of the Black women, the younger women, like all in the camera doing the same foolishness. And it's like, if eventually they're gonna see it. They may not say they watching those things, but they are watching it. It's just like when we were young, we may say we wasn't listening to the old school stuff and listen to the old people talk. We may not outwardly say it, but they listening. And I think it's our responsibility to still keep on having these talks and these dialogues and opportunities. Like I have a 25-year-old sister, and she's not, she's more laid back and stuff, but that's still her peers. That's still her environment. And if you just talk to them, they will see. If you have younger siblings and younger cousins, they will listen to you more than someone on the street. So that's where you have that direct influence and to keep on checking on them and talking to them, and eventually is going because there's still good ones. If you have kids that came up from the projects, one may have gone to jail, but another one ended up going to Yale from the same projects. Two black men from the same situation, two brothers, two siblings that can go in one direction and the other, and people will see both, and they will take bits and pieces from both, and then there are the ones that will continue to want to follow in the footsteps of the one that went to Yale. I feel like if we continue being good examples, people will see it. The younger generation will see it. Just like when we were younger and we saw what older people were doing, and we were like, we took the red or the green pill, which life we wanna live. Some people you like my mom say, your hard behind make a soft fall. Soft behind make a hard fall. So it's like, if you don't listen, you gonna feel. And if that's what it takes for you to learn, then so be it. Just hopefully it don't cost your life, but it'll open your eyes.
Speaking about taking bits and pieces and learning, we are at the end of our broadcast. And so, Daniel, anything any final thoughts, final words you'd like to share? Any bits and pieces that you think we can learn from Takeoff's murder, for the Black community, for the hip hop community, and the young people that are watching and being influenced by this? Any final words?
That same love and care that we have for people when they get killed, if we carry that with ourselves every single day and bring it out into the world, we won't have this problem. It's that simple. Like that same care, the same level of concern that we have. I see people all the time on the internet. Oh, I feel so bad for Quavo. Like that same level of concern and care, we carry that amongst ourselves, not just towards celebrities when they die, but to your neighbor, to that brother you walking past, that brother that accidentally bumped into you, and show him some grace. Like, hey, bro, all good. Like, I done had brothers bump me like hard, and they'd be like, oh, sorry, bro. I dap them off, like, just to show them extra love. Like, I could easily like, yo, you good? But I'm gonna dap you off to show you like it really ain't no problem. We good. All good, bro. Like, just going that extra mile to show each other love, grace, concern, care. We'll be in a better place. But until then, we're going to continue to deal with this. And just like I say, you just need to learn to talk. A lot of people need to be in therapy. A lot of people need to, if you're not going to go to therapy, man, you need to surround yourself with people that are going to challenge you. Like, hey, man, why you be saying that? Like, why you be acting like that? Like, that's the people we try to stay away from. Like, oh, he boring, or oh, he always got something to say. Nah, that's the homeboy you need around you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just surround yourself with people that are going to be honest, that care, that, you said, talking to people, you say you related to, might be your cousin, might be your brother. It's easy for you to get some versus an outsider who see them doing something wrong in the street and they try to tell them, they probably shoot at them. You know what I'm saying? But if you say something, they be like, all right, even if they don't take the information, they go at least sit there and listen. You know what I mean? We need to be hands-on with our people, care. Overall, man, we just need to stop being selective about when we're gonna be caring about each other. Stop being so selective. Like, let that be who you are. Like, so if you care when somebody gets killed, like a certain person that you care about or you admire, you have it in you. So let that be a part of, like, stop being so selective about it. Like, let's just care in general.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said to have grace and to be more gentle with one another, to show each other love, and that grace. I think that's very, very important, and it could be something as simple as, if you bump into one another, don't assassinate me for it. Like, maybe it was just a mistake, just being gentle with one one another, I think is a very good message to leave. So thank you for that. Chantel, Shanby, what are your final thoughts?
No, I love that Daniel used the word grace, and I think that is the big word that we need to look at. And mental health is actually men's health month, and I think mental health is very big. It's becoming more popular to speak about, but hopefully there will be more people taking, especially men and Black men, taking action on it, because the statistics are just so high when it comes to suicide. Like, I've had two Black male friends from college and from my friend in New Orleans that committed suicide, and they were both in their early 30s. And it's just sad to see, whether it's through some type of gun violence, but then there's also so you have the external demons and you have internal demons. And I feel like those need to be dealt with. And when you meet somebody and like you said, bump into you, you don't know what kind of day they could have actually found out somebody, they lost their job, somebody passed away. It's like, it's so much. I know it could be hard on ego and pride to walk away from the situation, but it can truly save your life or someone else's by walking away. And you may actually even gain respect from that person or that situation by doing the same. Because I just want to see more 50-year-old rappers celebrating birthdays and celebrating life. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so very much. I hope I can reach back to you for another live broadcast. This is actually my first live broadcast on Service America. We've been online for a while, but this is the very first live broadcast. Just really tackling these types of issues that impact our community. So I want to thank you both so much for taking time out of your day, and you're coming from different parts of the world. And
can we say our social handles if we want to share? People can find us, follow us, and all that.
Right. Please do, and I will even add it here. So I know you tell me your handle, and I'll put it up real quick.
So y'all can find me at Black in Brooklyn, double entendre, because I am Black, but my last name is Black. And
Black and BK, right? Or
Black, the letter N, BKLYN.
All right, so we got that one, and so this is let's add that on. So that's you, and Daniel, you're at @_Hardaway.
Yeah, _Hardaway. Yep. Yes, ma'am. That's me.
Hardaway. All right. There we go.
Yeah, they keep it simple.
That's right. So there are the handles. You got, I just want to brag a little bit about Daniel. Daniel is a very good artist. He's one of my favorite artists. His work, I think you can find on SoundCloud. He's still on SoundCloud.
I got some stuff on other platforms, but some stuff I just upload on YouTube and SoundCloud.
All right. And so you've got some great music, and I like that your music really talks about your life experiences, and they're just great storytelling. So thank you for contributing that to the culture. And Shanby is what I love about Shanby, y'all. Let me say this: she is a confident, strong, unapologetically bold, beautiful Black woman, and you make me want to stand. You make me comfortable being a Black woman. You know what I mean? Because for such a long time, it seems like I've always had to apologize. I know, right back at you. You almost have to apologize for your hair, the kinks in your hair, the color of your skin. You know what I mean? I love how you celebrate and express yourself as a woman, and more so as a Black woman. I really love that. I want you to know that it inspires me, and it makes me feel good in my own skin, and you give me permission to do that.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you both so much. Daniel Hardaway is a fantastic artist. He's not the only good-looking thing in, I should say, you know, August Alsina is not the only good-looking man in New Orleans. I think Daniel Hardaway is.
And hopefully less problematic too.
Oh no, I don't. Man, I'm out the way.
Even though he's kind of wet though. He's not from real New Orleans. Let me stop. Let me not do that.
I love New Orleans. You know, I love New Orleans. So, but again, thank you all so very much. I sincerely appreciate it. And I would like to thank all of you who took the time to tune in and engage with us. Those who did or those who didn't, that's okay. But thank you for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate it. I'll be back with more conversation, more hot topics. And, you know, this is obviously a very tragic situation that we're covering. They're still looking for the killer of Takeoff. And I implore everyone, you know, anyone who knows anything about it to speak with HPD, you know, talk to the police. Don't be afraid. And if you need to be inspired, think of Tekashi 69. I'm not trying to make anybody get into a dangerous situation, but I think it's about time that we start to stand up for each other, with each other, come what may. This is how revolutions are born. And so we have to start creating the space where we can all live and grow and thrive together, loving and supporting each other with the grace that Daniel reminded us of. And so I thank you all. This is E Pluribus America. I'm Jeanette Lenoir, and this is Our American Culture.